second set of our elective clinics. In here we have Dr. Alamo from UNC Chapel Hill. He's going to be doing a clinic on improvisation. Really excited to have him here. If you guys were here at the concert last year, it was killer watching Dr. Alamo play for us. He's going to be in the concert again tonight, so make sure you're sticking around for that concert. So I'm just going to pass it off to Dr. Alamo. Enjoy. And if you do want to check out the other clinic, it's the Basil Drum Clinic. You can actually just go out these doors and take a left out there, and that takes you to the auditorium. So, all right, enjoy.
Thank you. Hello. Everybody doing good?
Yeah.
All right. How many of you improvise or are interested in improv? I'm assuming everybody is, but just out of curiosity, how many of you have been involved in improvisation in one way or another? Whether it's because you do it on your own, just to have fun, or because you've been taking formal classes. Okay. So those of you who are raising your hand, how many of you have taken like jazz improvisation? Okay, and then the others, you just been doing it on your own, okay? No formal training, but you interested in the idea of improvisation. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Any idea? Can you tell me why are you interested in improvisation? What's the one thing that interests you the most? Yes.
Like the way that it feels.
Okay, the way it feels.
I want to get to a point where like I can just like sing stuff from memory and like make songs. I want to be able to do that, but like on an instrument.
Okay, but you'll be able to sort of say what you have in your, your thought, be able to express your thought in a fluent, free way, if you will. Okay, and you like the way it feels, so, okay.
It makes music feel more personal because it's something that I'm creating and not just reading off the page.
Oh, okay, cool, good. And more personal?
I want to, whenever I'm appointed a solo for drumming, I want to make sure that I can make the best solo I can get through improv.
Okay, anybody else? No? All right, so let's do something fun. Let's split the class. You guys in the back will sing this note. Whether it's this octave or this one, I don't care. To my left, from you to my left. Start humming that note. You can do it louder. And then you guys hum this note. And sustain that. It will be my accompaniment. couple of more questions and then we get into plays. And, how many of you are, when we say improvisation, are interested in like melodic improvisation? Okay, and so I'm assuming the other half, when you say improvisation, you're talking about drumming improvisation. Okay, I mean the two are related, and the two, you know, we gotta keep those two things in mind because we all know that those, I mean, music, I mean the three sort of basic elements of music, you got melody and rhythms. Those are two of the most basic ones. So we cannot have music without the other. Even when I'm playing drums, I'm thinking melodically. Okay. Whether it's because I use some implements to alter the pitch of the drum and to create some sort of a line or a melodic shape, or because I'm thinking in phrases, right? Cool. All right. So I want to pick your brain a little bit. When you're improvising, so if I come to you, let's reverse the role. Imagine that you're the teacher and the student, and I ask you, okay, just give me, I don't know, like 5 bullet points that I must be aware of as an improviser, like basic things that I should keep in mind when I'm improvising, whether it's rhythmically, harmonically, melodically, or musically in general. Things that are basic but are sort of the foundation of improvisation. Yeah.
The feel of the piece as a whole.
Okay, the feel of the piece. Okay. What else?
Playing changes.
Changes. Okay.
The key you're trying to play.
The key. Okay. What else? I'm looking for something even more basic than that.
Transition.
Transition, that's important. I like it. There are even more basic things than that, but that's important. I will keep that on my basic, you know, bullet point list. Okay, transitions. What else? Think about basic stuff. I'm not thinking about like changes or we'll get into that later, but I'm thinking like basic foundation things that when we improvise, we must keep in mind. I'm not ignoring you, I will let you, but I think there was another hand here, you and then you. Okay, phrasing, all right.
Be careful of fourths and sevenths.
Again, you jumping ahead, but I mean, that's important, but it's more than just basic. I'm looking for very basic.
The harmonies you're playing.
Okay, I'm looking for even more basic stuff than that. You and then you.
What do you want to express?
Okay, expression.
The notes you're using.
Okay, what else? You seem to have.
Maybe what scale you want to be in?
Okay, now, so let's think about even something even basic. What about space? Very basic, right? Space.
Yeah.
Now, if you need to define improvisation with one word, it's like having what? Having a conversation. And to have a good conversation, what must take place? Space, right? If I'm saying something, I need to allow the other person to say something. So there's got to be an interaction, a call and response, right? And then we get into, you know, how you transition from one idea to another. But the first thing is there needs to be space. I need to think what I'm going to say and make sure that my ideas are clear and simple so I can develop. Start with basic things. So if I go back, so I already know that the key is A minor. Okay, cool. And I got bazillion things in there that I could play, but I want to start with something simple that I can develop as I move along. Okay, it could be a motivic idea or it could be a melodic idea. I mean, I get to choose which one it's going to be, or it could be a combination of both. Okay? But sometimes we get caught up into, okay, the 7, the 3rd, the scale, like, and then we fail to acknowledge and to keep in mind the most basic thing. Okay? Because like if I ask anybody who hasn't improvised ever in his life to come and improvise here, then the temptation is like, it's like going to a candy store. You see so many candies that you want to eat them all at once, okay? And you don't pace yourself. Right? So you have all these notes in front of you and you say, well, I'm just going to play as many as I can. Is that a conversation? It would be the equivalent of jumping into somebody, hey, how are you? And which movie did you watch last night? Oh, you like that one? And then you watch the game? It's like, whoa, dude, hold down. I mean, which one is it? And you want to talk about the movie, the game, how am I doing? Which one is it? Can we go one at a time? Okay? So pacing is important. Space, you know, thinking about call and response, thinking about something basic that can develop. It's like telling a story. That's the other analogy that I will use. All great compositions are based on that, right? So if you take, for instance, this piece, it's the whole thing the same all throughout. So if I just play the rhythms, it doesn't tell me nothing, right? Because it's kind of the same thing. The beauty of that is what he does with that motif. How he takes that, now moves to the 4, now to the 5th, back to the 1 but inverted, back to the 5th minor. Surprise. I'm no longer in G. Beautiful. It's still the same. Okay? But he is manipulating that idea. It will be the same if I go back and I ask you, let's play in A minor, right? And you take one idea. Okay? That's my idea. So I have to find ways to develop that idea now. It's a simple idea, of course. It's not going to sound as great as that composition. But the point is, I'm forcing myself to what? To develop a simple idea. And I think that's a basic principle of improvisation that oftentimes we overlook. Okay, think with something simple and see how can you exploit that and take it to as far as you can. So sometimes less is more. Okay, either you don't have to play anything super complicated necessarily. Now, jumping ahead, then you have to be thinking about harmonies and that sort of thing. Okay, so if I'm in A minor, what are perhaps the two most important chords that I need to keep in mind? A minor and what else?
C major?
C major? Not really.
E.
Hmm?
E.
E, you say E, but be more specific. E what?
E minor.
E minor?
Major.
Doesn't tell me, no? What is the most basic yet important cadence or chord progression?
5/1.
5/1, that's what I just played. So if I'm in A minor, that E is going to be important because it's the one thing that is going to create tension, but it's also going to bring me back. So if you notice, so while you were doing that, I play all kinds of things. I momentarily play C major, I momentarily play F because there's a lot of common tones in there that I can use whenever I want it. So I move as far away as I want it, but every time I wanted to go back to A, right? I will use that G sharp, right? That is the leading tone to go back. Okay? So we established that the dominant and the time, the two most basic yet important basic harmonic progression. Now, what are the two most important notes on any given chord, and why? Be careful what you're going to answer.
The 3 and the 7.
The 3 and the 7. Why not the root? From a improvisation standpoint, why the root is not important, or is important but not the most important?
It doesn't tell me what the chord is, the quality of the chord.
The quality of the chord, right? So what's the difference between C major and C minor? The 5th and the root are the same. What it changes is what? The 3rd and the 7th. Okay? So those are the two notes that are going to define the quality of the chord and are going to give me harmonic clarity, right? If I want harmonic clarity, that's what I want. The root doesn't really establish harmonic clarity because it leaves me hanging. Is it major? Is it minor? Is it dominant? Is it augmented? Diminished? I don't know. The 5th doesn't really tell me the full story either. Okay, the other thing with the root, that oftentimes when we ask somebody to improvise and you see C major, what's the first note typically you will play? C. Well, my analogy is like you're a painter, right? And I give you a white canvas and then the first color that you choose to use is white. Is that gonna work? No. Of course, it's a safe choice because it's not gonna look either good or bad, but it's not, you're not adding anything to it. Does that make sense? So that's exactly what happens with the root. Now, if you are at the end of your improvisation or at the end of the phrase, that might be a good spot to use your root, right? Because you want a conclusion, you want to end, you want to create a sense of relief. So if I'm ending, what's the note that the ear is hoping for? A. Okay. So knowing those basic things, right? then we can start thinking about how can we explore the idea of improvisation. Now, I asked you why you want to explore improvisation because I was curious. I was pretty much trained as a classical musician, you know, all the way till I went to college to do my master and then my DMA. But one day I came to the realization that even though I have all this technique and I was playing all this insanely difficult repertoire, I brought a marimba home to practice for a concert, and then somebody was having a birthday and they say, hey, can you play Happy Birthday? I say, well, yeah, I'm assuming I can, but not on the spot. And then I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? My grandfather, who doesn't know the difference between C major and C minor, can improvise Happy Birthday. And I have a diploma hanging in there that says that I have a bachelor in performance from my conservatory, and I cannot play Happy Birthday on this spot. There's something wrong with that, don't you think?
Yeah.
There's something wrong. Okay. Now let me just set the record straight. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with memorizing pieces and learning repertoire. You need to do that. Now I do have a piece of advice for you when you do that. When you learn a piece of music, don't limit yourself to just learn the notes on the page. That's meaningless information. A monkey can do that. Go beyond the notes and learn the harmonies. Learn why that piece sounds the way it sounds. Right? If you find, oh, this sounds interesting. Well, why it sounds interesting? What are the notes that he's using? How he's using a chord? Does anybody know this piece? If you're not even a player, you might recognize this piece. Right? Okay, to me, what I would be asking myself is, how he's getting that sound? What chord is that? C sharp minor. Okay? That's all there is. Right? Root, fifth, third, seventh. But the voicing he's using is kind of interesting. Okay? So I might just put that on my pocket and say, hey, you know, I got a voice in here in my pocket that I can use when I'm improvising. Because I took the time to stop and think how he's voicing a chord. Or if I'm studying Bach, or if I'm studying, I don't know, any other composer, Keiko Abe, whoever that, you know, you study, Gordon style. Just don't learn the notes on the page. Anyone can do that. That's almost meaningless information. Go one step beyond and check out how, it's the same 12 notes. Have you ever thought about that? It's just 12 notes. You gotta wonder, how come we've been making so much music for so many centuries with just 12 silly notes? And there's still music to be made with those same 12 notes. So don't limit yourself to just memorize that. And the same thing if you're playing drums and you learn something, just ask yourself why this drummer sounds the way it sounds. You know, what is it that he's doing? You know, whatever the case may be. Go beyond. Be curious about it. Okay? So in the case of this instrument, if you're learning a piece, take the time to figure out what key that piece is in and how he's moving from one chord to another, so forth and so on. So you can use that information when you improvising or writing your own music. Okay. So and then the other thing is when you practice scales and arpeggios, don't do them mechanically. That's okay at the beginning, but eventually find ways to make music with that. Okay, so if you practice that, it's okay just to do this. You will never play a piece of music like that. Never. Nobody, or certainly not me, is going to pay to hear that. Okay, but then if I just figured out that voice in the Virginia tape. Let me take it and see what I can do with that. That voicing, and I'm thinking about what? 2, 5, 1. Yeah. Right? 1, then the 7, then the 5th, and then the 1. And using the arpeggios. You don't need to be a genius to do that. Right? Anyone can do that, seriously. Or even if it's just 2 miles, just mess around with the arpeggio. Have somebody playing some sort of an ostinato down there, and then so I'm no longer just doing, what is that? Nobody's going to pay you to hear that. It's okay at the beginning just to know those things and to be able maybe to move your hands, but that's useless and pointless information if you don't transcend that, if you don't make that into music. Okay? Can I get a couple of volunteers to come up here and then improvise with me in C major? Okay, actually we can have as many as possible. We can probably do a line here. And then we would do like A major phrases. Okay? Just start a line here. But think about the things that I just pointed out. Pacing, quality, yeah, if you have knowledge, that would be ideal.
Thanks.
I have too much time.
Who's ready to go? Anybody ready to go with knowledge in hand? You want to start first? It's improvised and nobody can tell you you're wrong. They don't know what you're going to do. Okay. Now, here's just another thing unrelated to this, but I think it's so important. You know what is the most important skill of any musician? What is the most important skill you must have as a musician? Confidence? Is that what you said? Is that what you said? Yeah, but it's not the most important. Intention, perhaps. The most important skill, the most important tool you need to have, and we all have it, we just don't use it. Listening. We percussionists are horrible listeners. And the next thing to that is we have a tendency of not breathing. Because this instrument you can play bazillion notes without breathing. It's not like a trumpet, right? So oftentimes when we play a piece of music, it just sounds like a collection of notes that, like a train nonstop. And I don't hear a sense of pacing, breathing, peaks and valleys, right? So we have like moments in which the music get, tense, moments in which we relax. So make sure you're listening to yourself, not hearing yourself. There's a difference between the two. We all hear what we do, but listening with a purpose, right? And react to what you're listening, okay? And be mindful about what you play. And you are having a conversation. So if you listen to what you play, then your ears are going to tell you, okay, that needs to be followed. No, that's enough. Don't play anything else, and that sort of thing. Okay. Let's try. I will play some sort of a background for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, that's good enough. Any observations? You're too quiet. And that scares me. Either you're bored or you are uninterested. Or you're not, I don't know, you don't know, like, I'm sure you have something to say. Yes?
There wasn't that much dynamic stuff going on.
Okay, there's no dynamic. What else?
I thought it was cool how you have like a kind of consistent idea through the whole solo.
Can you, if it's a consistent idea, can you hum it back?
I don't know, it was more like a rhythm that I noticed. I couldn't hum it back if you asked me.
But perhaps if we can hum it back, it's because it's not 100% clear. Maybe there were way too many notes, right? So we gotta wonder. I don't know, I'm not saying, I'm just, pondering whether it was actually clear. Any other thoughts? To me, it feels like I don't know which direction you were going, right? So I had a hard time understanding your conversation. Okay, let's reverse the role. Can someone play just what I was playing in there, or anything? It could be just C. Just play quarter notes. I don't care. Somebody else, not him, so he can hear it. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Keep going. So I stick to one idea, to a motif that you could recognize. Okay, and I was listening, like, how can I follow this? I wasn't thinking about scales or anything, per se. Of course, I mean, we don't have to because we are limited to one scale. Now, let's try that, and again, start with something simple, leave some space, listen to that, and try to keep it simple, and try to develop that in a way that feels like it's some sort of a call and response, and like a beginning, like a climax point, and then some sort of an end. Okay? You can stay there. Count. 2, 3, 4. But what about if you were, like right there at the very end, instead of repeating that note, what other note would you use that would have been perfect? Anyone who would like to? The 7, which is which note? B. Right? Because that will note will be begging you to return to C. Okay? Now let's try somebody else. 1, 2, that was much better. 1, 2, you can stay there. You're higher.
Whatever I want, and the chords the best thing there.
Yeah, but again, think about the stuff that we were saying. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more interesting. Let's think about 4-bar phrases and make sure that we hear the beginning and the end of that 4-bar cycle. Then let's play 4 measures of C, 4 measures of G, back and forth. Okay, and just use this. Then go here. Right?
Hey, anyone in the solo contest, you can go ahead and go back over outside the cafeteria so you can get feedback. And then you can come right back to the clinic right after.
All right, 4 and 4. Starting with C, then we go to dominant. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so you need to think about that 3rd and 7th. Okay? So let's try one more time. And let's make sure we catch that G. So we shouldn't be playing E when you change, or C when you change into that chord. 1, 2, ready, go. So let's keep it to 4 and 4, right? 4 measures of each one. 1, 2, ready, go. First one measure. Second measure. Here comes the G. See, but again, you play this. All right, so let's try 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. and then we can give it a chance to know somebody else. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, somebody else. Keep going. 2, ready, go. 1, there's a G, G. So same comment I made to him, okay? Make sure you nail that G7 when it comes.
Okay.
And the B natural will be the ideal note. And then when you're going back to that C, your leading tone again will be that B natural.
Okay.
Take you back there. And then I don't hear much space between phrases. I think if you start playing even less amount of notes,
Okay.
like try to purposely maybe just play 2 notes and then wait, and then maybe play 3.
Okay.
And then, gradually you add. So the idea is that you build and go somewhere. If not, it just feels like a fragmented, monotonous, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful
Yeah.
way. Improvisation, which we as listener can grab to. We don't really know where you're taking us.
Okay.
Right? One last time, and then you come in. 2, 3, 4. That's better. That was much better. All right, let's give him a chance. There should be 2 pages. Grab 2 and then pass the other. 2 pages each person. 1, 2, ready, and go, and. Space. All right, but so will you be able to hum that back? Probably not, right? Because you're not giving us any time to absorb your message, right? It's like one idea after the other, one idea after the other. It's just coming too quick to us. So leave a lot more space. And eventually, if you do that, eventually you can go into a moment in which you go nuts and play as many notes as you want, but not right away. Okay, one more time, and then pace yourself. Start with very basic things, allowing us to sort of follow along, and then develop. 2, 3, 4. All right, is that better?
Yeah.
You think so? Can you hum that back?
No.
No. All right, let's try one more time. No, we're gonna have a conversation. 1, 2, 3, 4. now you listen. So the key is to listen. Leave some space, think you're having a conversation, because in fact, that's what you're doing. Okay? Cool. Next. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of the questions that you have in regards to reports and everything. All right. 1, 2, ready, go, and. Has anyone worked with the blues here before? If you're familiar with the blues, then you might want to step up front so you can be part of the band, so to speak. All right, we don't have time to go over everything on that handout. The first part, and I will need a 5 hours to Marimba to demonstrate some of it, which I don't have. But one thing, I mean, sometimes we think about improvisation and we think about jazz. Not necessarily. You don't have to be a jazz musician to improvise. In fact, in my opinion, the greatest improvisers were the classical musicians of the 17 and 1800s. Bach, there's nobody who can even come close to that guy. Forget about Charlie Parker, I don't care. Those guys were nothing. The greatest improviser was him. I don't care who you say, bring me whoever you want, I don't care. I need some tape, and I'm glad it's some tape. I'm not ashamed to saying that. Forget about jazz. The greatest improviser were those guys who were true improvisers. And I love jazz, and I love Charlie Parker, and I love all this music, and I play jazz. Nothing wrong with it. But, so you don't have to, we live in an era in which we like to box things, like, oh, well, you have to be a jazz musician to improvise. Now, a lot of classical music was originally improvised. Chopin, all of those pieces that we venerate now were improvisation. The guy will sit at the piano and fool around and come up with those amazing ideas. And Beethoven, a lot of the pieces that we play now were originally intended as improvisation. So you don't have to be a jazz trained musician. But you know, I think it's important that we take some time to improvise for multiple reasons. Even if you don't pursue this as a career, improvisation will change the way you hear music, the way you think about music. Because when I play music, I'm not thinking about the notes, I'm thinking about the harmonies. And that's what I'm hearing. When I hear a piece of music, I don't hear the individual notes. I hear the harmonies, the changes, how the composer is manipulating the changes. That's what I'm interested on. So to me, that's why it's important. But usually when we teach someone to improvise, typically speaking, we introduce them to the blues, because it's one of the simplest forms. I mean, not quite, but compared to others, it's relatively simpler. So I have a handout in there that will pretty much guide you along. Now, the one thing I will say is, again, I go back to what I said before, is arpeggios and scales are vital when we improvise. Those are kind of the building blocks that we use. The problem is that, again, we've been trained to practice arpeggios just, I mean, not even that, which one is just, whatever the case it is. So it's like a mechanic thing without any musical intention, okay? But if you listen to a lot of jazz, and I have some exercises in there, you will encounter arpeggios. And we use arpeggios all the time. This is just an arpeggio. Right? This is the arpeggio. Okay? And it's used all the time. This is another commonly used lick on jazz. Which is an arpeggio. Inverted, but it's an arpeggio. So don't be afraid to explore your arpeggios and create melodies based on the arpeggios. Now, let's all take a look at the chord progression of the blues. And if you want to come up front and play the arpeggios, that's great. If not, you can, from your chair, vocalize the arpeggios. So we can all start to memorize, if you will. Or I hate the word memorization. Let's use the word assimilation. Just get assimilated with the sound of the blues. Because when you memorize something, all you do is just file information without thinking. That's why sometimes when you learn a piece of music, then you play a run note, it's like, what happened? I don't know the rest. Because all you did is memorize information. We all done it, okay? But if you take the time to assimilate, to go a step further and understand what is happening in there, then you will be better equipped to play that piece and to withstand any human mistake that we all make, or we could potentially make. Anyway, so what is the first chord in there? We're in the key of F. F. F what? It's all dominant. That's one interesting thing about the blues is the home key is not major, but a dominant chord. Okay, the next one.
B flat 7.
B flat 7. Then it comes back to the F. How many times? 2 bars. Then B flat again. 2 times, right? Then back to to the F, then, and we're moving away now. Because D7 is the what of what? The dominant of what? You got it in front of you, what's the next chord? D minor. So we're using that to anticipate the next one. And then we have C7, which is the dominant of F, to take us back to F, and then we can play that turnaround. Okay? 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's another common chord progression in popular music. Okay? Either 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, or 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Those are two common chord progressions. So the first thing I will advise you to do is just being able to play all those arpeggios. At least, you know, root 7, 5th, root 3rd, 5th, 7th to begin with. Eventually, if you get more comfortable, go all the way to the 9th or 8th notes, right? But for now, let's keep it just to the 7 quarter notes. 1, 2. Anybody want to come and play along with me, please? Nobody? No volunteers? You would need, you know this by memory? You know this by memory? If not, get the lead sheet and like this time there and follow. Yeah. What?
I will not be fairly certain. This part.
We are taking a look all right, here we go. Just quarter notes. 1, 2, you vocalizing every note. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, A, C, A flat, B flat. Actually, let's do it a little bit slower so we can vocalize all those notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, C, B flat, B flat, E, F, A flat, A, C, B flat, B flat, 7. Back to the F. Now we go to the 6. G minor. Here's the C7. Now turn around. Okay? Cool. You can do that on your own, so I'm not going to waste any time. You got your own page. Let's move to the second. So we already established that the 3rd and the 7 are the most important notes. Okay? So if I target those two, by targeting I mean, harmonically speaking, what is the most important beat on every measure? 1 and 3, right? Because that's where the chord progression will change, right? 1, but sometimes a 3. And if you look at the last two measures, you have changes on beat 1 and 3. So those are the beats that you want to target. Those are the beats you want to play your 3rd and 7th. Okay, so let's take a look at that second exercise, which happens to target those notes. Slowly, 2 and 3 and 4 and. You're in the wrong page, I think. Right? Can you hear the changes? Right? So like the first one, first measure. The 7 of F, which is E flat, went to which note? The 3 of the 3rd degree of the next chord. And that's going to be the concept all throughout. Who did that 100 years ago? Bach.
Yeah.
Okay? There's nothing new. Okay? That's what it is. That's why his music sounds so perfect. See, I don't need anything else. See, I don't even need a bass. Next chord. Sorry. Okay? So I will work on that. If I want to really sort of understand how to improvise, I will take 1-2 weeks and make sure that I can do that, and then create your own variations. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Start on another note, okay? And find a different way using quarter notes, but always landing on that third and watching that third to the seventh, seventh to the third relationship. Okay, now that's not the only thing. If we limit ourselves to that, then it's only really limited. The next thing that we often do in music, jazz or any type of music, is we add what? Chromaticism to make things even more spicy. It's like when you're cooking, you gotta add some sauce, some salt, something, just to make it tasty. But that's what we call enclosures or neighboring tones. There's different terms for that. And there's different ways of doing that. One would be that the easiest one is just to play a chromatic thing. So if my chord tone is going to be C, I can approach that from an upper neighboring tone, D, C sharp, C, right? I could do that. Or I can come from below, okay? Or I could use 4 notes. Or, so there's countless ways that you can do that, okay? I mean, I don't get tired of using Bach because he did it so many times. All of these are this. Here is one. Perfect example, right? So it's there. Now, the solo that you have on the bottom of the page sort of puts everything on practice, if you will, or into context. So you got the arpeggios plus the guide tones, and this is how that solo sounds. Actually, can I get somebody just to play the root of every chord? Maybe you can do that. And let me just play the solo if you don't mind. Just play the root, okay, of every chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2. 3, 4. Make sense? Okay. I know it's probably a lot of information, but we don't have much time left. And I wanted just to make sure that I sort of glance through it and give you a chance to ask questions that anything that is not clear on the page. But if it's clear to you, all you gotta do is, if you're interested, take it to the practice room and put it in practice. Okay? That's all you gotta do. I mean, very straightforward process. If this is a little bit over your head right now, then start with something simpler. To start improvising over 2-5-1s. Okay? Take any key, start on C, D, G, and C. 4 measures, 1 measure of D, 1 measure of G, 2 measures of C. And you do that. Once you're comfortable with that, move a 4, either up or below, and then do that till you get comfortable with that. And then start with something relatively simple, just using the arpeggios. So this will be an example. Just using arpeggios, using quarter notes only. 1 measure of D, 1 measure of G, 2 measures of C. 2, 3, 4. and then roll the C on the lower end.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Blues, yeah.
A little bit of blues, and some,
Did a little vibe.
Mathematics.
yeah, chromatics, right? Chromaticism. Okay, you said, well, I'm not a jazz musician, I could care less about that, I'm a classical musician. Well, do the same, grab your 4 mallets, and then make a piece on that chord progression. Okay, well, I don't know what to do. Well, start with just this, okay? Root and fifth, and then over here, you can play either third and fifth, or root and third, okay? Just with that. And hang in there when you feel comfortable. And it might not sound great early on. That's okay, nobody, cares. As you feel more comfortable, you start adding other rhythms, I could listen to that. Better than, what is it? Right? Or I don't want to listen to that. I might have nightmares with that. But it's the same thing. You're still warming up. Then we use dynamics. Any idea what I did in there? An idea what I I'm not doing that without knowing what I'm doing. I know why it's going to work. Because the 2 most important note, or at least one of the most important, is the third of the 7, right? Well, guess what? There's some common tones in here between C and A flat.
Yeah.
Okay? How many of you know this piece? You notice anything about the ending? It's in C major, but this is not in C. What chord is that?
A flat.
Is it what?
It's A flat.
No, it's D flat. Why? D flat is the one of what? Have you heard the term tritone,
Yeah.
or the devil in music?
It's a tritone start.
It works beautifully. I don't know why they call it the devil. I call it the angel, because I love it. I love this sound. Now, in C, I don't have anything to write here. My dominant chord is G, D, F, and B. But the F and the B are the two most important notes, okay? Keep that in mind. Well, what is the third of D flat? What is the third degree? Oh, F. Isn't that also the 7 of G? Okay. Then what is the 7 of D flat?
C.
See what?
C flat.
C flat or
B.
B, natural, which happens to be the third of G. Okay, well, voila. They got two common notes that I can use. So I don't want to be predictable, and I'm going to fool you. So I mean C, but I don't want to play 5-1 because that's, everybody expects that. So I'm going to go. Because I know that this is compatible to this, right? So I can use tritone. When I'm dealing with a dominant chord, I can substitute that for its tritone. And if I'm in C, then that would be D flat. Or check it out, there's an easier way to see it. On a 2-5-1, when you're playing the 2, just play that same chord but flat it. So B, D flat, dominant, and then C. Okay? So again, I'm going to improvise with that. That's much more interesting than doing any of those exercises. And all I'm doing is arpeggios and the scale. So please, from now on, view this as a vehicle of expression, not just as a cold mechanic thing that I have to stand behind and kill myself just memorizing stuff that 6 months after you play, you don't remember a note. Do you think that's a waste of time? To me, it is, right? So if you're learning a piece, make sure that you, sure, learn the notes and the dynamics, but then ask yourself the question, what key are we in? You know, does it change? Okay, whatever piece you're playing, and then how did the composer move around, you know? What happened there harmonically? Can I stall any of those ideas? Whether it's to do an arrangement. Then, how many of you like popular music? I don't know, Beyonce, I'm sort of out of touch. I don't listen to pop radio. But if you look any piece, you like anything, hip hop, whatever, I don't care. You like a melody, come to the instrument and try to, by ear, get the melody. Once you get the melody, try to find the chord. Test your ears. I said it before. The most important tool is your ears. Once you develop this, everything else will fall in place. Your phrasing will be better. Your sense of touch is better. If this is a boring instrument, I'm sorry, it's just boring. If you just play it mechanically, it is boring. Most people, when I see to, I don't see, oftentimes I avoid listening to it because all I see is technique. And I don't care too much about it. If you're gonna play a note, I want that note to touch my heart, not my brain. I don't need to be impressed. Right? So to me, it's more meaningful if you play a note, if that note makes me feel chills, that's it, you win me over. We play 1,000 notes and all I see is technique and ability, sure, and knowledge. You can play better than me from a technical standpoint, that's great. But I'm out of here because that doesn't speak to my heart. And at the end of the day, we're playing for people. And if you play a concert, 90% of the audience, they're not percussionists. They don't know the difference between one grip or another, or one rudiment or another. They don't care, oh yeah, you play a paradiddle. Oh no, you just play, I don't know, like an independent role, whatever. They don't care. First, they don't know. Second, they don't care. So if you play a phrase and that phrase moves you, make you cry or make you angry or whatever, I like that. And if you play a wrong note, but there's a purpose and intention behind that wrong note, I'm okay. But if you play all the quote-unquote perfect notes, but it's cold, and there's no expression, and there's no intention in music behind it, then I'm not sure I wanna pay to hear that. That's me. That's just me. And a lot of the people that I know, again, I'm talking about the audience, right? They don't really, first, they can't tell the difference between a right or wrong note, the average listener, right? Because they don't know the piece that you're playing. So, and it's a little bit selfish just to get caught up on playing the right notes. Don't you think that's selfish? Because you're being selfish to yourself and to the music. Okay, you're putting your ego in front of the music. And the music is more important than our ego or our need of being, treated like, oh, you're virtuoso or whatever, which very few people are actual. Anyway, so I hope that if there's anything that we're discussing here, I hope that you find anything interesting and that you will use it to your own benefit, and you will pursue it in whichever way you feel, useful for you. If you have any questions, I will be here the rest of the afternoon, so feel free just to stop by. I mean, I don't know if we have time to answer any questions right now. We still have questions, so if you have any questions, it will be the time to answer. If not, then my email is in the handout, and again, I will be here the rest of the afternoon. So I will be more than happy to answer any potential questions or complaints that you may have in regards to what I just talked about. You have a question?
Yeah, can the tritone sub, and I have a similar question for like altered dominant sounds, like can they be used for anything other than voice leading?
Yeah, I mean, again, you have to explore them. If you're writing a tune, you can use them pretty much whatever you want. It all depends on the melody, right? And where the melody is coming, from where it's coming and where it's going, right? So that's kind of a hard question to answer without having like a piece of music in front of me.